there. So you've come to the right place in terms of a professional, having access to the right professionals to guide you in that. And so you'll be meeting with the presidents of the two presidents, FIAPSI Africa and Near East. Mr. Dele is here. He's going to work with you. And then, of course, Mr. Opatola is here as well. So here you have both FIAPSI, which is the international body for real estate practice. And then you also have members of the NIESV, that's the Nigerian Institution for Estate Surveyors and Valuers. So you are in good company. So I hope that addresses your concern. Before I leave, I want to reference something I watched 2 weeks ago on television. It was in Enugu State. The governor of Enugu State and the owner of Landmark. Gentlemen, that's a man that understands what is under that blue rug. That's a man that understands the blue economy. I've never met him. I just saw it, and by the time I turned to it, I saw the governor, and what I could hear was Nike Lake Resort, and I saw Landmark. I didn't need to watch it any further. I could establish what was about to happen. And that's also a governor. That's why I said, go to the governor. The governors are the key to the blue economy. Let's be clear. Yes, we will eventually have a national policy. It's taken a while in coming. We had started that some 3 years ago, from NIMASA to the ministry then, and then under the chairmanship of the then vice president. We had a couple of meetings, but then of course, the tenure elapsed or ended, and then here we are. So we will get there. But don't wait for the policy. Write your own policy and start to execute, and then converge. There will be a convergence. But if you wait for the policy, it comes in 10 years. Uninvested resources will go latent. So blue economy will allow you to broaden your mix of portfolio in this business, and you need it. No investor sticks only to a singular line of investment. So here we see a man who encountered a very painful, and let's agree with that, setback. That was actually a thriving blue economy endeavor. Things happen. But here we also see a man who is resilient as the seas, as the waters. Who then says, okay, this has happened. Rather than throw his hands up in the air, blame, whatever, accuse, he locates another playing field, another watery playing field, a blue playing field. Nike Lake Resort in Enugu used to be a very fantastic place. And here we see a man, that's a blue economy, that he decides to move from the coast, because Landmark was on the coast, and decides to say, well, if the coast is giving me stress because of the construction of the Lagos, that's the coastal highway, which in itself, if accomplished, or when accomplished, will actually add significant value. But do not wait. We don't know when it will be accomplished. The man goes from the coast, from the coastal side to the blue corridor. That is how this game is played. How? Sitting down with the governor. The governor did not need to think twice. This man has something on the table. Gentlemen, that's the point we are making. He engaged, he didn't advocate. So I want to encourage us, and I look forward to our continued relationship, because already NIESB, FIAPSI have, even though they've not given my certificate yet, I have it. I can walk in at any time. And I want to assure you, from the School of Eloquence to the Achievement Channel and to the Blue Economy Academy, we will always continue to support you, to work with you. We've got loads of programs, and ensure that we drive this together, because this is what will save Nigeria. It's what that will save Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let us continue with the organic round of applause. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate it.
Who's going to talk with us, who will lead the discussion, let me say it that way. As one of us in the industry. So there is nothing you are going to hear today is probably through practical experience because he has passed through several ladders in this industry. One, he worked as a SA media to the Master DJ, Dr. Jamo. That was his last port of call. And thereafter, before then, he had a school in Lagos, a very thriving school called School of Eloquence and Communication. I'm sure most of you have been hearing of it. That's the owner, the proprietor of School of Eloquence and Communication. His name is Dr. S.N. Ubong. So let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
His paper or his discussion this morning is very broad because I know he has navigated well in the industry. And when we were discussing, I told him, listen, I beg, so many things are involved. You have to go through the nitty-gritty. In fact, his paper is 4 papers in one. So it's going to be holistic. Sir, the people you see here are staff of PR unit of Nigerian Shippers Council. Most of them are in Lagos, some of them are in Kano, Abuja, Bauchi, Port Harcourt, where they have zonal offices, they have PR people in those offices. So the head of PR assembled them to come and share perspectives, share ideas on how to go forward, which is a normal routine. So we'll now give you the floor to start your conversation with us. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. Let me start by extending my respect to Head of PR. Madam, thank you for this wonderful initiative. And that's what leadership is about in terms of building the team. So I want to say well done for leading this charge in this regards. And then to all of you, my colleagues in this business of communication, we are communicators, all of us here. That's really the crux of who and what we are. And that's the essence that we represent. The PR function is essentially an element of the entire communication architecture. And I hope that as we engage in these conversations, one of the things that I am looking forward to doing is to engender a paradigm shift. Having been a private sector person and then I had the privilege to serve in the public space, I'm always excited when I'm asked to come back to join these conversations because of the benefit of both worlds. Yes. And I have seen from experience, I think August will make it 2 years since I left NIMASA. I've seen from experience that each time I pop into meetings like this and speak, it's always so enlightening, even for me, to think and realize what I could have even done differently when I was in service. So it is my hope that we would at least have that paradigm shift, because without it, we will continue to run the same clock again and again and again. So that's one of the reasons why I opted for us to have a more interactive, engaging decoupling of the subject matter. After this, I will still send you a paper. The paper will reflect what happened here. I will send the paper formally through my colleague here to the team that will put into place a clear picture of things that you can begin to do and to implement. So I'm very thankful for the privilege of joining you here this morning. As I said, I do have a bit of history with the Nigerian Shippers Council, not even a bit of history. It's a rich one, especially during the time of Malam Hassan Bello. I remember that we had about 2 cohorts from the Nigerian Shippers Council come to the School of Eloquence to be trained on public speaking and presentation skills. It was, I would say, an across the agency participation. There were people from finance, people from consumer support, there were people from PR. You were in that program as well. I remember very well. It was a very good program. I remember some of the faces. I remember Monica. Is Monica still in the system? I remember Emeka Ogaba and painfully the late, no, it was in the PR, the late, no, not Patricia. Is it Eunice? And I've forgotten his full name. Oh, Eunice? Yes, Eunice, yes. Yeah, was in training, yes, sadly. So we do have that history of maritime. My life in maritime has been a very interesting one. I never knew that I would eventually work in maritime, but I had always supported so many people in the sector. They would come to the School of Eloquence, then we're in GRE Ikeja. We've moved to Ikoyi now, and we would just work. Little did I know that the sea was calling. And by 2020, when Dr. Jamo became the DG of NIMASA, he practically ambushed me and said, you have to come in and work. And I'm thankful as I look back to him for insisting, because I said no for 5 months, but for insisting. And I'm very grateful for that experience. And sometimes you need people like that in your life, because it gave me a whole new career in the blue economy. So I'm very grateful for that. So today we're going to converge. We're going to converge communication tactics, essentially. Even though you're referred to as the PR unit, we're going to converge communication dynamics into that space in our community system where Shippers Council operates as the economic ombudsperson. The amazing thing about the maritime ecosystem is that everybody has got their space. For us back then in the market, it was all about safety and what have you. But for you, it's pure economics. And so, as we start this conversation to engender a paradigm shift, the first thing I want you to note is that you must see yourselves as communicators, first and foremost. Why am I making this point? The typical tendency when you look at the PR architecture of a number of government agencies and entities, it's a default mode, is that, yes, in terms of the PR function, we are almost always on crisis mode. Have you noticed that? We are either praying that something does not go wrong, and when something goes wrong, a lot of the times it catches us flat-footed. So we are constantly playing catch-up. We are constantly in reactionary mode. So we call the press, put out a press release. We are constantly just sending all of these information out for it to circulate. That's what typically happens. And the maritime space being such a volatile operating environment, because there are just so many players doing so many different things.
from security to safety to trade.